The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Well, here we go. A monumental point in the show with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Case, our 25-year-old producer, has not seen many big movies. In fact, none except Boys in the Hood and Norbit. But because of this radio show, he's become a better person, now seeing Shawshank Redemption, Braveheart, Back to the Future, and reviewed these movies, and he's really becoming a better person. Now, coming up here is Roadhouse. Now, Allie, one of our regular longtime listeners, says I can't listen to it. Because I love Case, and if he says literally anything bad about the Patrick Swayze masterpiece known as Roadhouse, I fear I will never love him again.
I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I'll still love you, Case, but I can't imagine you saying anything bad.
I guess we'll have to find out here in just a second.
So this is it, the review of the original Roadhouse.
Patrick Swayze is
Dalton, I thought you'd be
bigger.
opinions vary.
When he's around, anything can happen,
How does a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
and usually does.
If somebody gets in your face, I want you to be nice.
Don't be rude.
Ask him to walk, but be nice.
Help this gentleman to the door.
Until it's time to not be nice.
So says the fighting philosopher.
Roadhouse.
Love it, love it, love it. Case, watched Roadhouse. Now tell us what you think.
Roadhouse, the 1989 classic film starring Patrick Swayze, is essentially the most violent episode of Bar Rescue to ever exist. With Patrick Swayze playing the role of John Taffer.
Oh my God, what a great analogy.
That is the only thing I could think while watching this movie was this is Bar Rescue. This is on Spike TV. This is a bar that needs help. They bring in an expert, and he cleans up this bar, and boy, does Patrick Swayze do just that.
What a great start. I'm happy with this so far, and a good perspective from a 25-year-old from a movie that was 31. No, this is 35 years old, isn't it?
Oh, we're all gonna die.
I think it came out in 89 or 90.
89.
Okay, all right. I don't mind that. Go ahead. I like that.
Everything about this movie should not work. It is ridiculous in concept. It is ridiculous in execution. Patrick Swayze is doing Tai Chi at one point. There are no cops in this movie until the end. It is utterly ridiculous in every single way. There's a monster truck just because.
Yeah.
And with all of that being said, one of the single most satisfying viewing experiences I have ever had as a movie watcher.
Yes, thank you. If you never believed in Gen Z, this is a great way to say yes.
Awesome.
This makes me happy. This really does.
It is such a bizarre movie. You have Patrick Swayze, who is a cooler, not a bouncer, but a cooler.
Right.
Hopping from one bar to another, much like John Taffer in Bar Rescue. Doing his thing where he just wants everybody to be nice. He wants to clean up the bar. He doesn't want any fights, doesn't want any brawls. And what we have here is a story of love and romance, passion and crime. Some of the greatest fight scenes I have ever seen in a movie. Some of the greatest one-liners and back and forth I have ever seen in a movie. Again, none of it should work.
Right.
It is utterly ridiculous. My only knowledge of Roadhouse prior to watching this, besides Terry Funk, the recently deceased one of the greatest wrestlers of all time being in it, was that I just knew Family Guy had referenced it. As is the case with most old movies, I only know the Family Guy version.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was getting in for, and I have to say, incredible. I mean, for a movie in 1989, I will say the pacing of it is crazy. There's never a dull moment. It's 2 hours and it's go, go, go.
Yeah.
There's always new characters. I'm trying to follow along, but I enjoyed the ride the entire time.
This makes me happy.
It makes me happy, too. And the music, too. Jeff Healey's great in that movie. You don't remember the music?
No, I remember the music. It was good. It was good.
Jeff Healey was the house band of the Double Deuce, the bar, and who was a real, great performer in real life. I mean, he sadly passed away, but he, incredible performer live. Saw him at the House of Blues.
Is he the musician? So there's the scene in the movie, and we'll bounce around here. I'm not going to go fully chronological, but there's a few things I want to highlight. Is he the musician when the girl gets up on stage and the bar owner goes, "Play me a song, Elvis"?
Yep.
And then the girl strips.
Yes.
And then Patrick Swayze grabs her off stage and says, "If you're going to bring a pet in here, you need to bring a leash." After the girl gets naked.
What a great line.
That's the thing. Karen, let me ask you, do you like this movie?
I do. And,
Okay.
it is kind of a guy's movie, though.
Well,
for sure.
That's the thing. This is an interesting thing, and I don't say this in a bad way by any means, but I think this movie is very uniquely male. This movie would not be made the same way now, not because it doesn't hold up or there's things that are problematic, but if you were to test this movie as it is now, because movies go through testing before they hit theaters, a focus group would watch this.
Yes.
And unfortunately, as is the case with all art, some suit would come in and say, Roadhouse just doesn't connect to the female 18 to 34 demographic. We're going to need to make some changes. And you would have an entirely different movie. They would bring in characters. They would change the story. There's something about this guy who is tough yet sophisticated, funny yet brooding. It is a male's fantasy. I want to be this guy. I want to be Dalton.
1,000%. And we forgot beautiful.
Yes. Oh,
he was one of the most handsome men alive.
Absolutely.
Also, rest in peace. There's a Roadhouse curse. Many of them are dead now, but it was 35 years ago. I'm still upset about Patrick Swayze dying. It was BS.
So I had never seen a movie with Patrick Swayze before.
Well, this is a good first one.
I know. I know the name.
Yeah.
I know he unfortunately passed away 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Really, really sad. But I don't. Dirty Dancing?
Yes.
Ghost?
Yep.
What is Ghost about?
Oh, you need to see that
Well,
one.
let's not get sidetracked.
Yeah.
Let's put those. Stay on.
I don't know what that movie's about.
Okay, let's not get sidetracked because there's a lot to unpack there. I want to stay on Roadhouse because I am so jealous you got to watch it the first time. And we have people checking in. Brad says, great, now I won't have to stop listening to Q101 because you were...
So much pressure. Oh, my God.
Your review is going wonderfully so far with people that have, just joined us right now. And to your point, it wouldn't just be a suit that ruined the movie. It would be today's youth.
Oh, stop it.
They do
I'm
some
the youth. I liked it.
I know, but you represent, that's why I'm happy about this, that a 25-year-old loves Roadhouse without over-analyzing maybe some of the evolution of people and what would be inappropriate, like the one girl having sex relations in the back room with the bouncer.
Well, it was usual
They
Friday
don't do
night.
that anymore?
I don't know. I don't know.
Kara, I'm glad you asked that question. This was one of my biggest takeaways from the movie. And look, I don't have a lot of road miles on me. I'm not the most adventurous guy. I grew up a little bit sheltered.
Right.
I'm a city slicker now. I live in Uptown.
Yeah.
So I have a question that needs to be answered. Maybe you guys can help. Maybe the text line can help me.
Yeah.
But something like the Double Deuce.
Right.
The bar that's the basis of this movie, the Roadhouse, if you will. Do places like that still exist?
I would love to know if someone could shout out a bar that still exists like that.
Do bar fights still happen?
Oh, yes. I've seen a bar fight break out right next to me before.
But like recently.
Yeah, recently, Kara.
Like in the era of cell phones, do bar fights still exist?
That's a good question. It was a couple years ago.
Sadly, people don't square off anymore in a fair fight.
Yeah.
Sadly.
They have to bring a weapon to the fight. Even though Patrick Swayze did say, right boot, the guy had a knife in his boot, he still took that guy's ankle and broke his ankle and put him to the ground because he could do that. And I don't know if there's any former bouncers out there that can tell some stories on the relatability of this movie. If it's possible. If they worked at a bar around Chicago that actually had a fight like Roadhouse, that'd be wonderful to hear from at 312-591-8300.
Because I was so interested in the culture of this movie. Not only the existence of the bar fights, but the existence of, I guess I would refer to them all as like vaguely cowboy. And I don't know if this is just an archetype of person that got wiped off the planet when Stevie Ray Vaughan died, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Because the entire time I watched this movie, I kept on waiting for Stevie Ray to make an appearance. I thought he would do a cameo at some point. It seemed like, what would make this movie better? If Texas Flood hit right now, it would be better. But all of that being said, it felt like I was being catapulted into a different universe. I mean, it's not anything that I relate to. It's not anything I've experienced. I haven't had sex on the roof of a house, which was cool when that
You say that like you should. You should.
If you haven't had sex on the roof of a house, you're not living. And also, everybody was, in a way, beautiful in this movie. Even the tough people were perfectly cast the way they looked.
I have to make an observation here. We talked about boobs at the start of the show. This movie has a lot of 80s boobs, and as you know, 80s boobs look different than 2020s boobs.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened scientifically. I don't know what happened to the female
most of them in the
body.
80s were real.
Oh, maybe
that's
that's
why.
it. Maybe that's it.
I'm not sure when the rise of breast implants started. I believe it was around that time, though, in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I'm guessing.
I don't know. You know that more than I
This is
would.
kind of Brian's wheelhouse.
I'm thinking Pamela Anderson,
That was 90s.
running on the beach. Yeah.
But the women were incredibly beautiful, including Kelly Lynch, of course.
Yes, of course.
Which you see, there's some nudity in the movie.
There's some full frontal.
A lot of Patrick Swayze nudity, too.
Oh, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. There's a lovely amount of sexual tension. I do think that deserves to be mentioned. The scene where Patrick Swayze gets stitched up, which we have the audio of, is just riveting.
So this is after he gets knifed at the bar. He has to go to the emergency room. And that's when he first meets Kelly Lynch, the love interest in the movie. She's a doctor, of course, a beautiful doctor in the emergency room at like 3 a.m. Very realistic.
Well, Mr. Dalton, you may add 9 staples to your dossier of 31 broken bones, 2 bullet wounds, 9 puncture wounds, and 4 stainless steel screws. That's an estimate, of course. I'll give you a local.
No, thank you.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.
Most of my patients would
Wait, I'll stop it right there. Pain don't hurt.
Could you imagine, Brian, being in a situation where you're getting stitched up and you're able to come up with pain don't hurt?
I've been in the emergency room, and I've said, give me everything you got.
Right.
Give me the needle. What are you doing? Why don't I have my pain meds yet?
The thing I've always said is, the thing about pain is that it hurts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pain does hurt.
Oh, my goodness.
This scene was great. Very, like you said, big amount of sexual tension here.
Most of my patients would disagree with you. Okay. Do you always carry your medical records around with you?
Saves time.
Best thing ever. He has a file folder of all his medical records.
He's so cool.
Gosh, damn. Okay. Saves time.
Boss says you got a degree from NYU. What in?
Philosophy.
He has a philosophy degree.
He's every man.
I don't know if I've ever met a bouncer with a philosophy degree.
I would say there's not any in existence.
Any particular discipline?
No, not really. Man's search for faith, that sort of.
Come up with any answers?
Not too many.
How's a guy like you end up a bouncer?
Just lucky, I guess.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
he has every answer.
Hey, Kara, how
Yeah.
you doing over there?
I'm doing good. My memory of watching that movie when it came out is watching it with the guys, whoever I was dating.
Yeah.
I was like, they loved it. That's kind of why I love the movie, because the guys got so excited.
Uh-huh. Last best line of that scene.
Do you ever win a fight?
Nobody ever wins a fight.
What a prophetic statement.
Well, he majored in philosophy.
Oh, my God.
Yet, he wins every fight.
Yeah, he's a humble man.
He's very humble.
Say what you will about Dalton, he's a humble man.
Well, I thought he'd be bigger. He still wins every fight. I'm so ecstatic with your review, and so are the listeners. Everybody's still happy they can keep listening to the show because you didn't trash Roadhouse. A lot of people checking in, and we appreciate you listening to it. And another one off the list for Case's wonderful big-time movies that he's never seen, and he's just got to see it now because of this show and because of you guys.
Can I mention one more thing? I don't know if you want to play a song here, if you want to just keep on going, but I have to talk about the fight scenes in this movie because one of my big holdups on a lot of action movies, it's not my thing. I normally like neurotic comedies. Anything Judd Apatow's ever produced is sort of my wheelhouse.
Sure.
But I like the fight scenes in this movie because they aren't like over-the-top Avengers choreographed fight scenes.
Right.
They feel so raw. They feel so authentic. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the movie, Patrick Swayze rips a man's throat out of his body.
Yes, that certainly was. There was certainly a moment when you go, well, he can be evil if he wanted to be.
I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
That is the most shocking thing I've ever seen on a screen.
Yeah.
Just an incredible way to cap off what was just a marvelous movie.
Well, I'm glad. Okay, this is a great review. Now, before, and someone actually mentioned this, if we don't mention the Family Guy Roadhouse in this at all, it's not a proper review. Case's only perception of the movie Roadhouse was from Family Guy, which was this scene.
Much like Shawshank.
Right? And every other movie. This was this scene when Peter and Brian were watching Roadhouse on the couch.
Help! Somebody! These drunk redneck truckers are trying to have their way with me!
Not while my scrotum is pressed up against my stomach in these jeans, they won't.
Oh, God. So good.
Roadhouse.
That was awesome. And its message is timeless.
Peter, the only message in that movie is that every problem in life can be solved by kicking.
Oh, my God. Brian, you're right.
Peter, I'm joking.
What did you say to me?
Peter, what are you doing?
Get off my plane.
It's not even the same.
What the hell? Not gonna talk to me like that in my bar.
Not a bar.
Roadhouse.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. We're unpacking Case's Roadhouse review, and this is what we've been doing the last 4 weeks is you guys have been recommending the movies he goes and sees because he's 25 years old and hasn't seen any of the big movies that I've seen and Kara has seen and Kenzie has seen and anybody has seen for the most part. So now he's caught up with Braveheart, Shawshank Redemption, Back to the Future, and now Roadhouse. This has been really good.
I love doing this. I have said before, because Brian and I have talked about this, despite being 25, I'd like to think I'm very well cultured when it comes to music before my time, TV before my time, like the Larry Sanders Show, for example, one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm not a movie guy. I just don't like watching movies. But over the last 4 weeks, I have learned to love watching movies. So please keep sending in text to the text line, 312-591-8300. Whatever you want me to watch, we'll write it down. And luckily, I haven't seen a lot, so we'll keep this going for quite a while.
Well, and the thing is, this is the golden era of movies, whereas now we're in the golden era of television and shows that you stream on Netflix or Hulu or whatever that are created by, the movies, except for like Avengers movies, don't seem to do that well. I mean, obviously, Oppenheimer and Barbie did great last year, but
Iron Claw.
Yeah, Iron Claw. That do well, though?
It did okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that could have been on Netflix, too.
It would have done better had you seen it like I asked you to.
I'm going to try to watch that. I'm going to try to catch up on some new. I'm finishing up The Bear this weekend. See, everybody's on
Curb
TV
Your
shows.
Enthusiasm catch up.
I got to catch up on Curb. I got to catch up on
Things.
that. But people have chimed in about Case's review of Roadhouse, which was stellar. And also, he asked the question about not being somebody that went to bars much and did these things. He doesn't drink.
I have spent very little time in bars in my life. I normally try to avoid them, quite honestly.
He asked if bars like the one in Roadhouse exist.
Still, because in the era of cell phones, I would find them to be, I could see that struggling in the modern world. And also, people call the cops much quicker than they do in the movie Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, people are checking in if you're looking for to get into a fight at a bar. Now, I don't want to call this bar out and say go there and fight because I don't want anybody fighting, but they are calling out the Cross Inn on Grand Ave in Fox Lake. Always someone there looking for a fight.
Really? What was the bar name again?
It's a Cross Inn with a K. So Cross Inn on Grand Ave in Fox Lake. Now, again, don't go there and fight. That's not what we want. But these are the bars that people are telling us could be like the Double Deuce in Roadhouse.
Don't go there and fight, but if you go there and see a fight, please let us know about it.
Yeah, post a pic and text it to us.
Yeah, Nick says Mavericks Brew Pub in Island Lake, same thing.
Mavericks Brew Pub in Island Lake.
I can tell you the Riverview used to be like that in Algonquin before they moved to the newer location. They used to be a smaller
like a
Riverview
Roadhouse?
bar. Yeah. Oh, God. I saw some great fights there.
Yeah. Did you see good
Not
bands
the kind
there?
you want to go see. The kind that just happened.
Maybe good bands too, though, or no?
I don't know if they have bands at this place. That's a good idea or a good question. There's a newer version of it. It's bigger. Maybe they do.
One more. Prudence checked in. Sportsman's in Portage, Valpo equals Roadhouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Again, don't go and fight at these bars. That's a bad thing. Listen, we want to have fun at bars. We don't want it. But if they look like the Double Deuce, maybe it's nice little pictures to send us on. That'd be great.
And again, if you see a bar fight from now on, let us know about it.
Finally, Eric in Avondale checked in and said, when I was a bouncer in college, we had a poster on the back doorway that said, bounce like Dalton today.
That's motivational.
A la Notre Dame, play like a champion today. They would tap the poster on the way into the bar.
I love that.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
Well, still people texting in the wake of Case's review of Roadhouse, having never seen it. The original Roadhouse of Patrick Swayze, because I have to keep saying that because there is that version with Jake Gyllenhaal, the reboot that came out on Amazon Prime, and I haven't seen it yet. Some people say if you like the original, you won't like the new one, but some people also say the new one, or I should say the reboot, is really good. So I don't know what to make of it. I want to watch it just to see.
Yeah, same.
You didn't see it yet, Kara?
No, but the original usually is better.
Yeah, there are some reboots, like if you go in certain situations, somebody brought up like John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, the original thing was like from the 1940s, and the one in the 80s with Kurt Russell is incredible. One of the greatest in that genre of horror.
Yeah, like
and
The Fly.
thriller.
Jeff Goldblum's version is really good.
Really good. There's a couple examples of that.
I will say Lauren watched the new Roadhouse, and she really liked it. She was telling me it's not exactly a shot-for-shot remake. It's almost like based on a Roadhouse story where they just evolve and adapt to modern times.
Right.
I don't like Conor McGregor, so I don't really want to watch it. But Lauren liked it.
I love Conor McGregor.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah. Well, then don't watch it.
Done.
Just watch the Patrick Swayze one again. Now, it's funny, the other Patrick Swayze movies, we were talking in the commercial break, I said the case. So listen to this. He hasn't seen Point Break, which is Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
I don't know if that should be next, but then Case said, I haven't seen a Keanu Reeves movie ever. And a lot of people are saying The Matrix. Maybe next week. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the next good movie. So many good recommendations coming in, and we appreciate you texting in, but maybe The Matrix.
Matrix has been the most requested one on the text line since we started doing this. And so Back to the Future came up in conversation, so we did that last week. I want to do Roadhouse this week because of the new one. But unless we organically stumble into something next week, we'll do The Matrix because I have never seen it. I've never seen a Keanu Reeves movie.
Oh.
He's the guy from Dog Star, his band, in my opinion. I don't know him as an actor.
Dog Star?
I know. I don't know any of his movies.
I mean, it's a band he's in that he plays bass in, but
yeah, he doesn't even sing. He just plays bass.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think if that's the best first Keanu movie. That's in my head for you to see.
I feel like it is, and that movie does hold up, in my opinion.
Matrix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I remember doing the movie screenings of that on Q101. We did a midnight screening, and it was over at 600 North Michigan, the AMC theaters there. There was 3,000 people trying to get in that movie to see the screening. Again, these things don't exist anymore, these kind of world premiere screenings, because you can just kind of get them other places.
Yeah.
But it was intense. Yeah. And they told everybody in the theater, like people like us that worked at Q101, hey, man, you got to give up your seat for the listeners that are here. There's 3,000 people outside. And I loved Keanu. I loved The Matrix. And I got to admit right now, as a little confessional, I creeped down so our marketing person didn't see me so I could stay in the seat. I was like, what's one more seat going to do for the 3,000 out there waiting?
Give somebody else a seat?
Yes.
Nah. And I stayed for the screening of Matrix.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.